We are live once again in the KOTO studios with Brett Dennen. Say hello, Brett.
Hey.
How's it going? Thank you so much for stopping by.
It's going great. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. It's great to be in a real radio station.
Semi-real.
What do you mean?
We still use records.
That's what I was gonna say. What are all these like plastic square rectangle boxes all over the walls?
You're in there somewhere.
What are those
The
things?
D's are up here.
I used to know what those were.
Compact.
Radio stations I go to now, they just have pictures of all the great things they've done. You know?
We've got those too.
Like they have records, but they're gold.
We just ran out of space because we still have the records and compact
But all their music is in like a big box with flashing lights on it.
Yeah, you know, we've got some dinosaurs here. We're a 40-year-old radio station that's still growing. 40 years young.
Yeah.
We're still learning how to get into digital stuff.
I don't know. I don't think you should speak of it that way.
No.
Here's anybody listening. This is unusual radio, unusual in a good way.
Yes, exactly.
Most stations that you listen to in most other markets, they may be independent, but they're probably not. They're owned by a big company, and the songs that are played on the radio are picked by some person in a big high-rise corporate office building. And it's all programmed into a computer, and then it's sent out to the hundreds of stations that they own all over the country. And there may be people in there that have blood going through their veins, but they may be powerless when it comes to choosing what gets played.
Very true, yeah.
Unlike this place.
No meant to disparage KOTO. We are definitely one of a kind.
You should be
Freeform.
Proud.
I am. Oh,
Good.
I am. I meant it that way.
Yeah.
Speaking of 40 years, though, you have a birthday coming up, October 28th, where you're going to be 37. So you're nearing that 40-year mark. How's it feel? Are you getting nervous?
No.
No? You're going to embrace that?
I mean, the only thing that I can tell that's different is you might hear it in my voice. Somewhere in the last year or two, I started getting allergic to something. I get like a little tickle. I'm always clearing my throat. But other than that, I don't.
True story.
Age doesn't really have any effect on me.
Yes, no, you still look the same as I remember 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, I do what I love. I spend a lot of time outside. I paint, I draw, I make music. I'm around good people all the time. I stay pretty healthy on the road. And, I don't abuse myself too much.
And you tour.
I tour a lot,
That keeps you
But
young.
it's fun, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
If it wasn't fun, you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. Sedentary lifestyle slows you down.
Too much sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do sit a lot.
You're sitting right
But I'm
now, and
moving.
you have a guitar on your lap.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
we'll talk about the guitar in a little bit, but
Yeah, I'm going to play a song.
Yeah, let's play a song.
I'm going to play a song called Bonfire. It's on my new record, Por Favor. And this is a song that was inspired by a trip I took up Kilimanjaro. Out on the ledge, it's to the bonfire and get undressed. My boots are caked with clay. sky. Our love is sacred, wounded and naked, like a sunburned kiss. We are changing, fighting for the same thing with the lightning lips. And I wanna love you for the way you are, not the way I am. So let's go now, back to the bonfire we began. Back to the bonfire where we began. I remember you there, holding up the universe. I watched the wind playing with your hair, and that love had run its course. Why is there only one word for love and all of its beautiful curses? Our love is sacred, wounded and naked, like a sunburned case. We are changing, fighting for the same thing with a lightning lips. And I wanna love you for the way you are, not the way I am. So let's go now, back to the bonfire where we began. Back to the bonfire where we began. Back to the bonfire where we began.
Listening to Brett Dennen here live at the KOTO studio. That's a song called Bonfire off his album that just was released earlier this year, Por Favor.
Yeah.
Talk about that album a little bit.
Sure.
I want to actually, before we get into the entire album, talk about the Kilimanjaro experience that inspired that song, because I was going to ask you a different question related to the lyrics in that song. I had my thoughts on what it might have been inspired by, but I guess I was wrong. I never
What did you think?
never could have guessed Kilimanjaro.
What did you think?
Well, I know in your past,
Uh-huh.
and actually we have a 7 degrees of separation
Oh,
type
yeah?
story. Your camp counselor days.
Uh-huh.
You used to be a counselor with a man named Brent Gordon, maybe?
You know Brent?
You know, I worked at
he pretty
Yosemite
much taught
for
me how
5
to
years.
play guitar.
Yeah, and I've met Brent, and he left the position right before I got there.
Where?
Yosemite.
Oh, okay.
Big
Up
old
in
flat
Telluride,
campgrounds.
or I'm not Telluride, I'm in Tuolumne, or down in...
Big old
Valley.
flat, Crane
Okay,
Flats, all the way up the Tioga Road and
Yeah.
so on. So I know you have a connection to that area. You were born in Oakdale,
Mm-hmm.
just a mere hour and a half away.
He's from Ceres.
So I missed this campfire one time up in Tuolumne, where
Uh-huh.
you stopped by,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget that time where I heard about it too late.
Yeah.
So in the lyrics,
Right. I went and we went backpacking up there, Brent and I, and then went and stayed in the Ranger Village and did some music,
Yes.
and then I dressed up as a ranger.
bug camp, if I
Yeah.
miss.
That was a good
not
trip
mistaken.
though. And then I taught him how to fly fish on that trip, and then he took I gave him one of my old rods as a loaner, and he lost it.
Maybe
Yeah.
a big fish took it off.
Yeah.
And took it away.
He says his mom lost it.
Threw it away with his baseball cards.
I guess so.
But the lyric "Bonfire," where we
Yeah.
began, back to where we began. I guess I listened to this new album, Por Favor, and it seems like old Brett Dennen.
Okay.
It sounds a lot more like old Brett Dennen rather than Hope for the Hopeless era. And I didn't know if maybe you were making a conscious decision to going back to where you began, and the campfire element, the bonfires, the camping.
I did make an effort. The one thing I wanted to do was have the album sound very intimate, and I think just by nature of my first two albums were a little more intimate than Hope for the Hopeless, Loverboy, Smoke and Mirrors. Those kind of went a little bit more in the produced,
Right.
bigger production, bigger sounds. But the goal was to get a little bit more intimate, more acoustic guitar. But the reason that I wanted to do that wasn't because I wanted to sound like my older music. It was more I wanted it to sound very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
and just raw. I wanted it to be sincere but vulnerable. I wanted it to sound like just like very personal. And I think naturally it sounds like my older music because that's the kind of music I was making. But with Bonfire specifically, I mean, and now it makes sense that you say that because I'm saying let's get back to the Bonfire. There's a lot of themes in the record. One of them is just getting back to a source. There's a lot of travel in this record as well. Bonfire it's mostly about being on the hike up Kilimanjaro and just the struggle, not externally but internally, that you face when you're at high altitudes. And
internally,
it's more, well, you're in culture, you're in Africa. And it's the most beautiful people in the world that have nothing, that are so profoundly positive. That alone makes you think about yourself and where you come from. And I kind of stew on stuff like that a lot. It's always been present in my music. But yeah, there's a struggle externally, sure, with the cold and with the hiking and just being out of your element. But it's more, I think the journey inside is a lot more intense for me. Just because you're pushing yourself to the limit.
How long of a hike is that?
It takes about 11 days. I think
11
we
days.
think we did it in 9 because we did a little more of a serious route called the Western Breach, which you just go straight up this face, and it's not super technical, but you have to hit it in the morning before the ice starts to melt and rock slides and things like that.
Was this a vacation or a
Yeah, I went with
trip
my
of
girlfriend
sorts?
went with me, and we went there's an organization based in Denver called Love, Hope, Strength, and they do mountaineering trips all over the world, and people raise money to go, and they bring artists. I raise money as well, but I play music all along the way. So people get concerts at their campsites every night. And then all the money that we've raised, it's kind of like a jogathon. You get people who sponsor you.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the money that we raise, we give to a cancer treatment center that's in a remote place, pretty much exclusively in the place where we hike. So we gave all our money to a children's oncology center in Dar es Salaam, which is a crazy big city in Tanzania.
Excellent. Yeah, you've always been very philanthropic and supporting of many
Well,
causes out there.
I've been lucky because music attracts that.
Right.
And sometimes it's just easy for me to say yes or no. Like, I'll show up here and do that. And sometimes it's a little more invested in, like, going on a hike. And
Right.
it's good and bad. I mean, music has that. It inspires people to give, and it inspires people to come together. But I also have to, pick wisely the things that I want to support. It's
Right.
usually along the lines of environmental or social equality.
Speaking of social equality, in your neck of the woods, I know you're a fan of Oakland teams rather than San Francisco teams. But let's get socially relevant.
Are you a baseball fan?
I
Basketball
am.
fan?
Yeah, your team's from across the bay, right?
Yeah,
I'm a New England guy, so
where
Boston
are you
Red
from?
Sox. It's a little town called Gardner,
Gardner.
Worcester, Massachusetts.
Worcester.
And yes, but I wanted to talk to you about Colin Kaepernick.
Okay.
Do you want to share your thoughts? Or
On him, I think he's rad. I'm
Yeah.
not a 49er. I mean, when I was a kid, I was a 49er fan. It doesn't even matter. I'm not even really a football fan, but I think he's awesome.
Are you following the current events?
I mean, he kneels during. I don't know
National
why
anthem?
that's such a big deal.
People are making a big deal of
Yeah,
it. I
I
think
know.
he's on Time magazine this week.
Good.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's good. I mean,
Ah.
I think people should express their patriotism however they want.
Yeah.
I think it's rad that somebody that gets cameras pointed at him all the time is saying what he's saying. He seems well rehearsed. All the sound bites that I've heard, it seems like
He's thought it out.
He's thought it out, and
Yeah.
he has a good point. He comes from a good point. I mean, I think everybody's the people who get mad at him and say, well, what about our troops? Whatever, they're allowed to express their opinion. I don't see the connection personally between a flag and veterans. I mean, I know people go to fight for our freedom, sure, but I mean, doesn't mean you can't stand up for what you believe in.
Right. Yeah. Or kneel.
Or
sit
kneel,
down
yeah.
for what you believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to the philanthropy.
Uh-huh.
You have a guitar with a whole bunch of art.
Yeah.
There. What are you planning on doing with that guitar?
Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I recently became an ambassador for Martin Guitars.
Excellent.
Which means I get to play nice guitars and Martin's always been a partner in what I do for a long time. Like I have a organization in the Bay Area that I'm a part of called the Mosaic Project, and they give me guitars a lot to draw on and auction off. And I'm going to do something with this guitar. We're going to give it away somehow. It's got a bunch of flowers and a bird on it that I drew. And at some point, and maybe at the end of this tour, we're going to give it to a lucky fan.
If you go to the show tonight at Club Red, by the way, I'm sure you'll see this guitar.
Probably not.
Probably not?
No, Not, it doesn't have any electronics in it. I mean, maybe I could put it out on stage just to show, but...
That's true. You are playing with a full band.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that band in a minute, though. I'd love to hear another song on this guitar.
Sure.
Which you won't see tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll tell you the reason why you might not see it tonight after this song.
Okay, what do you want to hear?
Another one in the tuning that you have readily available.
I could do Cassidy or San Francisco.
You know, it's just San Francisco.
Okay.
Cassidy was the first single on Por Favor, though, right?
I think it's the only single.
I'm not going to kick you out. I'll take as many songs you'd like to play.
Pretty sure my record label gave up on me. I think it's the only single.
Silly.
They're
silly
gonna.
talk.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens next time I come here. I might be signed to Nike. Just kidding.
Valley, there's a lot of good restaurants.
Dennen, live here at the KOTO Studios. Brett Dennen has been to town many times before.
Yes.
He played at least twice, maybe three times. 3 times at the festival. And was it the last time you were here? You were at the Opera House solo acoustic?
Yeah.
So talk about...
Winters ago.
That was an awesome show.
Thank you.
I was on that balcony looking straight down. I had the best seat in the house, actually.
You did?
And asked the staff. They're like,
Really?
that's the best seat in the house.
Nice.
I got there early and I was stoked.
Oh, cool.
And that was,
I love
that was
that
an
place.
intimate experience.
It was a lot of fun.
It was
I
good.
just thought about, I couldn't stop thinking about the history that's gone on in there.
Yeah. Last night was the Whalers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, can you believe that? So
Holy
like,
moly.
and last
really?
weekend was, Blues and Brews Fest, Anders Osborne. The stage is still very well used,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in the shadow of greats
I
and
know.
ghosts.
Yeah, ghosts.
Ghosts of greats.
Have you
And
seen ghosts in there?
I've heard rumors.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the back room. And downstairs there used to be actually hot tubs, from what I gather, like built into the ground.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, did you hear that legend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to those? They got cemented over?
Probably.
Ooh.
Money happened.
Yeah.
Oh well. Change
Seems like there's a lot
change
of
is
money
inevitable
here.
and good. It's good. Yeah, we try not to flaunt it too much,
Yeah.
but it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
So those were the last few times you were here, but
Yep.
tonight you've got the full
Yeah,
band.
tonight will be different. We're
Yeah.
in the new club, and it's up in the village there.
Yeah, it's a
at the
cool
resort.
space. Cool space. Denise Mongan has revitalized Mountain Village music scene with Club Red over at the Conference Center. Once again, Brett Dennen tonight, 8 p.m. doors with openers Lily and Madeline. Tickets available at ticketfly.com or at the door or Wizard Entertainment. Talk about the band though that you're playing with, and are these new musicians? Are they on the album?
They're not on the album, but they're new. They're new to me this year.
Okay.
I've got a great rhythm section, and a guy that plays guitar and pedal steel, which is so great.
Have you had a
to
pedal
have.
steel player? Although
I've dabbled with it on records, and I've occasionally had people play it in shows here and there.
right.
But it's been a while since I've had somebody who really, he plays like 4 or 5 songs on pedal steel, and it's usually my favorite part of the night, because I just love that instrument.
I'm gonna guess Heaven goes good with a good pedal steel.
Usually when I do Heaven, I do it solo acoustically. I do it more like a folk version.
Okay.
But yeah, we do. He plays pedal steel on Ain't No Reason, and Dancing at a Funeral, which is really cool because it's such a upbeat song. He plays it like, he does cool, like almost like horn parts sometimes on it.
Ah.
Yeah. He does a really cool muted thing.
Yes.
It almost sounds like a clav.
Pedal steel, they don't get enough respect sometimes.
They're one of the prettiest sounding instruments.
And it's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever get writer's block?
Yeah.
Writer's block, yeah. What do you do to combat that?
Writer's block for me usually comes at a time when I think I'm getting just overall block in life. Sometimes writing is really easy when you're really inspired, and then there are other times where you're working through something and you're not as inspired, or you're having trouble. And I think writer's block, for me, I mean, it always times up perfectly, aligns perfectly with something I need to break through in life, and usually writing helps me break through that, and breaking through it helps me write. So it's probably that way for everybody. It's just, as an artist, as a writer, everything is, life and art is kind of all tangled up. But nature helps to move through things. Just being outside, getting perspective, going on road trips help.
Climbing Kilimanjaro.
Sure, yeah, trips like that, traveling for sure. Art, like I paint a lot, and
I was gonna ask,
that kind of taps into my psyche a little bit more, and I see things, kind of colors and images come out that I'm not really knowing what I'm doing, and it kind of helps me tap in to the source of it a little better.
You don't just paint; you paint really well.
Thanks, man.
You're like, I mean, you could be in, but
Yeah,
even
I'm just
without
trying-
music,
Yeah,
you'd be a professional artist.
I think the music and my my presence as a musician helps make because there's millions of amazing artists out there that just nobody's ever heard of, that don't get their work out there. But Instagram helps, and being a musician helps. But I'm trying to build it up to where I could have a rival career.
Yeah, well, you do.
Because I love music, but touring, it gets harder and harder.
You have to retire one day.
Well, yeah, but I mean, kind of like what I was saying earlier with radio. It's I find it's just I think I'll always be able to go and play music and have great fans everywhere. But to play in some places, you have to have radio, and there's not a lot of great radio stations out there anymore. At least for my kind of artists or my kind of music. So I'll keep coming to Telluride always. Yeah, I'm sure I'll always have an audience here, but there's a lot of places it's hard for me to tour. So I think art could be another way to get my music out there also. If I have a good, strong presence with art, I think I can, I don't know, just make people aware that I'm a musician also. Wouldn't that be cool? Like if my paintings were the vehicle to get my music out there.
A little vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Art is not the only thing that you do. Watercolor or painting. That is not the only medium. Of course, you do music, and that is an art. But I also read that you're doing wine these days.
I am.
Hashtag Brett Dennen wine. Talk about that a little bit. You're from California, so it's natural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, California is turning into one big grape orchard, vineyard.
Do you get in there and stomp on the grapes yourself?
Not for the wine we're selling. You don't want my feet in there.
No.
No. But I have done that before. Yeah, it's at this point it's more of like a brand, a label that we're trying to get off the ground. We have one of our partners who's an amazing winemaker, and so, but the goal is someday if we can make money off of it, if we could build it up into a real legitimate brand, we could have a winery and some vineyards and maybe a venue and on the green somewhere, on the ground somewhere.
And then all the wine connoisseurs will be like, oh, the Brett Dennen wine. Oh, wait, this guy does music too?
That's actually, I think, a very realistic goal, because wine has the ability, I mean, it's called Dennen Wines, and I think if we get the right distribution, and I think we're poised to do that, because the first wine we made got an amazing score on Wine Spectator.
Oh,
so there is a chance that it could be in liquor stores or grocery stores all across the country, and people could like it, and they could drink it, and think, I really like this, and then they could read the back of the label and be like, whoa, who's this, a musician? And they look me up and they're like, oh, cool, and, maybe the wine could be a great way to, like the art someday.
I'm guessing your art is on the label.
It is.
Okay, if it wasn't, I would say that might be a good idea.
It is, that's the one thing. And we make only rosé. We make 2 different kinds of rosé right now, so you only see us on a rosé shelf. But our labels pop out because they're watercolor painted.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Congratulations on all your things that you're doing. I'd love to hear another song.
Okay.
I made a request for one earlier, and you so graciously said that you'd do it. And,
I will do it.
This was one of the first songs I ever heard from Brett Dennen. It's off of So Much More. And let's talk about the reference to Colorado after this, because I've always wondered.
Okay.
Yeah? Take it away.
Fell on the floor. I was on the plane on my way to Baltimore. In these troubled times, it's hard enough as it is. My soul has known a better life than this. I wondered how so many could be in so much pain, while others don't seem to feel a thing. I cruise to my whiteness, and I get so damn depressed in a world of suffering. Why should I be so blessed? I heard about a woman who lives in Colorado. She built a monument of salt behind her garage door, where every day she prays for all whom are born and all whose souls have passed on. Sometimes my trouble gets so thick I can't see how I'm gonna get through it. Then I would rather be stuck up in a tree than be tied to it. I would, yes I would. I know that there is so much more. I don't feel comfortable with the way that my clothes fit. I can't get used to my body's limits. I got some fancy shoes to try and kick away these blues. They cost a lot of money, but they aren't worth a thing. I wanna free my feet from the broken glass and concrete. I need to get out of this city. Lay upon the ground, stare a hole in the sky, just wondering where I'll go when I die. When I die. So much more.
Right then and here at KOTO Studios, it's 1:54. Brett Dennen and Lily and Madeline, they are playing tonight at the Club Red at Telluride Conference Center. That song was called There Is So Much More off of Brett's second album that came out in 2006, So Much More. I always...
07. Is it
What?
06? Oh yeah, you know what? I toured for it in 07, yeah.
Mm.
It was a funky album because it came out and then it went away and then it came back out again.
Yes, with a
different label.
another So
Yeah.
Much More.
Yeah, with a different, like in a
new
in a different label or cover too.
Yes, right. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. Talk about that song and the different verses in there. That there's a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. The Colorado one. I heard about a woman who lives in Colorado. She built a monument of sorts behind her garage
Yeah,
door.
it's actually a monument. What do you got? Google?
Is it a monument of salt?
Salt.
That's
yeah.
what I thought too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just had to bring up the lyrics, and I could tell.
There's
I was
things
like,
that are
wait,
never
is it-
right, and Wikipedia is never right. But I never change it. I
Yeah.
just let people believe all the things they read on Wikipedia.
Well, I unfortunately believe that because my hunch was salt.
Salt, yeah.
Uh,
Okay, so
crying,
when I went to
talk to me.
college in Santa Cruz, and I was in this program called Community Studies, and a lot of people who went to that college and program went on to get their master's at a place in Boulder called Naropa. You heard of that?
It sounds familiar.
It's a college that I think Allen Ginsberg was one of the founders of.
Oh.
And so I don't know exactly. I don't know what the field is that you study, but it's like philosophy and psychology and self-realization, things like that. But then you can do it through music and you can do it through nature. And I mean, my cousin went there and it trained him to be a therapist, but through having like these profound moments of clarity through nature, helping people, you know. But a lot of people went to the school called Naropa, and somebody, I don't remember who, but I think I heard from a friend of a friend, was going there, and they went to visit this woman, and she has this thing called the Salt Monument. And she's in Colorado, and she just converted her garage into this big monument where she has this massive pile of salt. And every grain of salt represents every person on Earth. And then every morning, there's a certain number of people that die every day, and there's a certain number of people who are born every day. So every morning she takes salt away for those who passed on, and then puts new salt in for those who are coming to life. And she brings fresh flowers every day to hold space for those who are moving on and honor their death with flowers. And she does some sort of a ceremony for that, as well as for people who are born. And like, that's her, I don't know if she still does it or not. I've never met her.
It's amazing.
But it's a crazy story. And at the time I wrote it, it was a story that was told to me. And that was her mission. That was her purpose of existence, was to hold that ceremony down every day. And so the song, how it plays into the song, that's up to you to figure out. The song for me has a lot of different vignettes, a lot of different stories, but it's really all about who am I and what is my place in this world. There's all kinds of suffering, there's all kind of beauty. You know, how do I relate, benefit from all of that? How do you know, where am I in the grand scheme of everything?
There's another line, I got some fancy shoes to try and kick away these blues. They cost a lot of money, but they aren't worth a thing.
Yeah.
Obviously you've built an established musicianship since 2006, where, you know, you're nationally known, internationally known, and you can buy fancy shoes.
I don't really.
What are your thoughts now on that line? Are your fancy shoes? I'm assuming you're not buying them, but you have the ability to buy them. So, as your wallet has grown, have life experiences changed your outlook on things?
I'm still pretty frugal.
Yeah.
And I don't think. I mean, I may be nationally known, and I can afford to own the house that I live in, but I'm comfortable, but I'm not like, I don't really buy anything fancy. I do have addictions of like, you know, ski gear and surfing gear, like, but I justify that because I feel like it's part of my plan, just like eating organic food. It's part of my plan to live a healthy life up until my 80s and 90s. But I don't spend a lot of money. I do spend money on traveling. I like to go places. But the shoes is a metaphor. I mean, I've never really owned a fancy pair of shoes. I have a pair of shoes I wear to weddings, but it's more of a metaphor for separating yourself.
Everybody needs one pair of fancy shoes.
Yeah.
At least.
You gotta have a fancy pair of shoes. You gotta have a pair of white jeans. I'm just kidding.
Stonewash?
No, I don't know.
Do you, one of your songs, That's My Dog,
Uh-huh.
Come Back Kid,
Uh-huh.
It's not about dogs. I mean, it kind of is. But it's about the underdog.
Yes, that's the dog I'm referring to.
Do you consider yourself an underdog in this industry?
Always have. And just in life, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've been dealt a bad hand or anything like that. I've always thought I was, I don't know.
Yeah.
Misunderstood or,
yeah.
Overlooked.
Is it the red hair?
Maybe. And I'm also
love
a
it
middle
right there.
child too.
Middle child.
And I was homeschooled,
Yes.
so those could all be part of it.
But you've got a happy relationship now.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah, 6 years.
6 years. Congrats. Wow, that's fantastic.
Thanks.
You guys getting married soon?
You good?
No, I'm still looking for the one.
Is it hard to find a soulmate here?
Yeah.
It's a small town.
You don't lose your girl, you just lose your turn.
That's what they say in Alaska too.
Yeah.
Probably in all small towns.
Small towns,
There's a lot of dudes up here.
A lot of dudes.
Yeah.
Can you play that song on that guitar?
What song?
That's My Dog.
Sure.
Yeah? Does that sound good?
You're gonna probably need to turn down this mic you have on the guitar because I strum with this one song. Actually, I could do it without a pick. Heck yeah.
We can adapt.
Yeah, I want to do it with a pick.
Once again, you're listening to Brett Dennen here, live at KOTO. He's going to be playing at Club Red tonight. Not a show you want to miss.
Here we go. Well, maybe it's a common curse. Maybe things get bad before they get worse. I don't want to become someone who can't live up to it already done. Don't kill it just to figure it out. Well, it rains and pours and then it runs out. I was crying on the bathroom floor. And just when I thought I couldn't take no more, well, here comes a comeback. The kid is back on track, and there goes my hero. He's the underdog who's coming out on top, alright. That's my dog, he was the talk of the trailer park. She ran whistling through the graveyard, and she came to raise the dead. I was a stain on her unmade bed. I found the lover that I lost myself, and now I'm nowhere, just somewhere else. And the boys with the brown skinny legs, they go on and on. She sings, but I say, hey, here comes the comeback. The kid is back on track, and there goes my hero. He's the underdog, he's coming out on top, and everybody loves a comeback, so come on back. Everybody loves the underdogs, and that's my dog. That's my dog. Na 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 na. That's my dog. Na 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 na. That's my dog. Na 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 na. That's my dog. Na na na. That's my dog. I've never been late so long, never been late so long, no. So I was out of last to know, I was out of last to know. Yes, I was. I've never been done so low, never been done so low, low. Don't let me be the last to know, don't let me be the last to know. Yeah. Here comes the comeback. The kid is back on track, and everybody loves a comeback. So come on back now, come back. Everybody loves the underdog, and that's my dog. That's my dog. Na 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 na. That's my dog. Na 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 na. That's my dog. Na 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 na. That's my dog. Na 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 na. That's my dog. Yeah. Ooh, that's my dog. Yeah. Come back. That's my dog. Yeah. Na 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 na. That's my dog. That's my dog.
Brett Dennen here. Once again, live on KOTO Community Radio in Telluride, Colorado, 91.7 FM.